Hello, this is John from snowwolf.com. It is Friday, October 2nd, 2015, and I'm here to give you an overview of Meteor development using Atom, a hackable text editor for the 21st century. Atom was created by GitHub, hence the little octocats hiding in the background of the web page here, and it is a text editor much like many other text editors: Sublime Text, Notepad, VI, Nano. Take your pick. The difference is that Atom is based off of Electron, what was formerly known as Atom Shell. It's based off of web technologies, and it's an interesting project. You'll see a lot of other things listed on the Built on Electron page, including things like Slack and Rocket Chat, which we'll come back to later. The important part to remember is that this is essentially Chrome as a text editor. It seems a little crazy, but it means it's very extensible. The same way you can add all the plugins you want to Chrome, you can do the same thing to Atom. Of course, Atom isn't quite as heavy-duty as Chrome. However, it's certainly got a bigger code base than VI. So that being said, if you want to try out atom.io, you can go to atom.io/docs. They have flight manual, all sorts of information here. They even have a how to get started video, and their documentation includes things like why you should try Atom. They say editors like Sublime Text and TextMate offer conveniences but limited extensibility, which I'm sure Sublime fans would argue with. I used to use Sublime, I use Atom now, but I do think Sublime is very configurable. Though you'll see very shortly why Atom's probably even more so. So I'm using this to do Meteor development, which is the JavaScript app platform. If you've never heard of Meteor, go to meteor.com. It's your client side, your server side, your database, your data connection, all rolled into one. It's a lot of fun to work with, and I've honestly only been developing in it for a couple weeks now, so I'm still fairly new to it. So, let's talk about Atom. This is Atom UI. It looks very much so like most text editors. The menu bar across the top has nothing fancy. If you're used to Sublime, you're used to very similar type things here. Let's look at the preferences, though, because I feel that's a very important place to start. Since beyond the basic preferences and the key bindings, which are all lovely and useful, one of the key features of Atom is the plugins, or the packages as they call them, much like Sublime has. They're a little easier to install, but they do a lot of the same things. This is my list of installed packages: Atom Beautify, Fix.my.js, JS Hint, Linter, and a bunch of Meteor specific ones, and Minimap, which you'll see me use, which is very much so something that someone borrowed from Sublime, at least the basic concept. You also have themes, so you can change how the UI looks, and you can make sure everything's updated. So, I said that this was a web browser, right? It was Chrome for text editing. So if I press Command-Alt-I, I'm on a Mac, in case that hasn't been obvious, I can bring up something that will probably look very familiar to anyone who's done web development in Chrome. And I can access registered commands, see the console log, which is actually wonderful for diagnosing issues when you plug in packages and try to make changes with config files that crash things. Your console actually gives you useful error messages here. So, on the left here, you have my Firewater DB project that I'm working on. It's still fairly early in the development. You can see here that the yellow folders and files have been modified, and the green ones are new because this is a Git repo. So let's go to one of these files and show you the plugins in action. Red lines here, JS hint. It's running linter in real time. It says I'm missing some semicolons. So I can fix it easily without having to run this and see where my errors are. Of course, having a semicolon in this particular location is not actually required, but it's a beauty item. So you might have noticed in my packages list earlier, I had Beautify installed. So if I run Control-Alt-B for Beautify, bam. It's now beautiful. It's lovely. You can see that some of these single lines here, it exploded out into nice formatting, easy to read. The router's probably overkill, but it's a nice, clean way, especially as the files start to expand. However, this didn't actually fix my issues. I was sort of fibbing there. So I'm going to run Command-Shift-P, which is the command palette, which Sublime users will go, hey, I know that. Yes, it works very similar. I'm going to run Fix-My.js. I could associate key bindings with it, as you can see Find and Replace have, but I don't care for now. Fix-My.js has run through this file and fixed all of the linter errors for me. Life is pretty good. So, this is of course a Meteor project, and I was talking about Meteor development, so how does this make my life easier? If we press Command-Alt-M, you will notice this lovely little Meteor bar popping up at the bottom corner with a spinny gear here, which indicates that it is currently starting or restarting Meteor server. If we bring up the log, which I have an issue with for some reason, you can see that it launched Meteor. And if we go over to localhost 3000, we can see my awesome project here in progress. FirewaterDB, as you can tell, is an application about adult beverages. More on it in another blog post or another video once I get the code a little bit farther along. But, more importantly, now that Meteor is running here, what do we do with it? If we maybe make a mistake and save the file, just like normal, Meteor will automatically reload itself after a few seconds and pop up this little exclamation box telling you what's going on with it. So we can close this, resave that file, and the check mark is green again, which means that Meteor is running properly. All of these functions were because of my package. Atom Beautify, the command palette is built in, but Meteor, toggling on and off, Minimap. All of these things are packages you can install, and I will include a list of the packages that I'm using in the text of this video, or the associated blog post. So I mentioned earlier Electron Shell, a lot of things being built with it. If you're familiar with big Meteor packages, you might have heard of Rocket Chat. Web chat platform, it's multi-platform, not just web. It's actually available on OS X, iOS, Windows, Linux. What's it built in? It's built in Electron. So, Electron can provide you your IDE. It can help build your packages. Atom is very cool for that respect. You're actually essentially using web technologies to build your Meteor web technologies. If you haven't tried it out before, I do strongly recommend you give it a shot. It's fast, it's nice, it looks very pretty. You can theme it up how you want. You can configure items with JSON files. You can basically make it as fancy or as stripped down as you want. So, thank you for joining us today. I'm John from Snowwolf. Have a good day.